The PlayStation State of Play has come and gone, and now we're left with this question of, did this event live up to expectations? Well, let's get into all that up next. What's going on, guys? It's Kalo, and I'm here to give you the lowdown on all things gaming. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content. Drop a like on the video, and welcome to the Level Up. Alrighty, so the first of many showcases just went down, being the PlayStation State of Play. And I gotta admit, out of all of these events, this is the one that had me most interested. Outside of the obvious, for the most part, we know what Xbox should be up to. And I did take Nintendo out of this because, let's face it, do we all really know what they're gonna do next? But anyways, the remainder of the year for PlayStation was a bit of an oddity. Mainly because reports came out that none of their big first-party titles like God of War, The Last of Us, basically all their heavy hitters, won't be showing up in a major way. But PlayStation did start off the show in a big way, and they did this by showing off Concord. And coming out of this trailer, a lot of the Guardians of the Galaxy comparisons were being drawn, and I could see why. On the surface, it looks like another fun game, and that Overwatch gameplay really came through here. Now, what's interesting for me about this game, I really want to see how this game fares when it launches. The hero shooter space is a crowded one to say the least, and it's pretty much dominated by big titles like Overwatch. Sony is also opting to make this title a paid one, and this is unlike its competitors within the space, which tend to be free, and that kind of puts this title at a disadvantage from the jump. Now, the flip side to the coin here. That could translate to less microtransactions within the game, which that'll be great, but I guess we're gonna have to wait and see. And we don't have to wait too long because Concord is due out August 23rd for PS5 and the PC. Next up is an announcement that really isn't too much of a shocker here, but God of War Ragnarok is heading to the PC on September 19th, which I will be jumping back in for sure. But to double down on the news today, PlayStation also held this corporate kind of showcase deal, and this is where they did talk about bringing their first-party titles over to the PC and how they're gonna handle those things moving forward. Xbox, take notes. They were very clear here. Quote, "We have a dual approach here. On the live service side, we are releasing our titles simultaneously day and date on PS5 and PC. But with our tentpole titles, our single-player narrative-driven titles, as you saw in the presentation, the backbone of what PlayStation Studios has delivered in recent years and our history. We take a more strategic approach and we introduce our great franchises to new audiences. We're finding new audiences that are potentially going to be very interested in playing sequels on the PlayStation platform. We have high hopes that we're actually able to bring new players into PlayStation at large, but into PlayStation platforms specifically. So, long story short, don't expect any big titles like God of War, Spider-Man, The Last of Us to release day and date on the PC. Live service games, on the other hand, like Helldivers 2, and now I guess Concord, are the ones you should expect to release day and date. Now, an Until Dawn remake was up next, and I'm not the biggest fan of this title, but it looks like they're adding in new scenes, which if you are a fan of this title, it could probably add replay value here. And this title looks to release in the fall, which again starts to form out the rest of the year for PlayStation. Now on to the final announcement of the show, which in my opinion was the biggest of any announcement made that day. We're talking about Astro. That's right, we're getting a full-on legit sequel to Astro's Playroom. And I'm pretty sure it's safe to say this entry will take full advantage of the DualSense controller once more. Now, what's interesting about this here announcement, barring any other showcase that could shoehorn in another big title or two, Astro is getting its full shine here. Now, this plays into this factor unlike Playroom, which was free to play. This is a fully paid title. But that reflects in its gameplay, which will feature 6 different galaxies with more than 80 levels. Also, another fun bit to this game is the fact they're tying in a lot of PlayStation-owned IPs, like God of War and Uncharted, just to name a few. Now, I know I'm missing the smaller titles that were announced here, but again, that's why I wanted to make this video. I felt as if this showcase was very kinda meh. You guys know I always pound the table here when it comes to Sly Cooper and Jak and Daxter, and I felt as if those games being announced here, whether they're new ones or the old ones making a comeback, that would have made a great spot here. I feel as if this could have been the perfect moment in time for PlayStation to drop these titles, especially knowing their heavy hitters like Spider-Man or God of War aren't going to be active for the rest of this year. Slotting in a new Sly Cooper, Jak and Daxter, or whatever have you, especially in the fall, would have given PlayStation fans a beloved IP to revisit, and introduce newer fans to older games as well. Now I know Silent Hill 2 was shown off here, and this is a big third-party game for them, but the confirmation here was this game is coming out October 8th, which is a perfect pairing for spooky season. But 2024 from PlayStation gave us Stellar Blade, Helldivers 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Rise of the Ronin thus far. So I guess they have been delivering some noteworthy stuff, but again, the rest of the year just kind of feels off for me. But I do gotta say, I am very excited for that Astro game, so I can't wait to see what happens. But with all that being said, I'm gonna pass it off to you guys. What are your thoughts on the PlayStation Showcase? But that about does it here. I've been K-Lo, I gave you the lowdown on all things gaming, and if you're new here, feel free to subscribe to this channel for weekly video game news content, drop a like on the video, and this has been the Level Up.